She said, "You need to disconnect from your parents' negative energy." I said, "You're right." Then I canceled our $100 conscious coupling and exposed her guru father's secret debt to all our guests. I was supposed to get married in a month. After being with Aura for 2 years, engaged for 6 months, I finally realized that her favorite catchphrase, "You can't chart a soul's journey," was just a fancy way of saying, "I'm going to do whatever I want and you're not allowed to question it." The mental gymnastics she performed daily could have qualified her for the Olympics, but I was too blinded by love, or maybe just the constant smell of sandalwood, to see it. My parents are the most grounded people I know. They own a successful hardware store in our hometown, a place that smells like sawdust and common sense. They worked 60-hour weeks to build it from nothing, paid for my college degree in data analytics, and still call me every Sunday just to check in. They are my rock. Aura's family, on the other hand, lives on what appears to be a different planet, one powered by crystals and positive affirmations. Her father, Julian, is a holistic finance guru who sells online courses on manifesting abundance. Her mother, Sky, designs intention-infused jewelry. They live in a sprawling minimalist house that looks like a high-end yoga studio where every conversation felt like a therapy session I didn't sign up for. The problem began with small condescending comments. Aura would gently suggest my mom's pragmatic advice came from a scarcity mindset, or that my dad's handshake was a form of unresolved masculine aggression. Apparently, asking how someone's day was has been reclassified as a low vibrational interrogation. Whenever I'd push back, she'd get that serene, pitying look on her face and say, "You just don't understand, Leo. You can't chart a soul's journey." It was her get-out-of-jail-free card for any hypocritical behavior. I'd try to let it go because, love. Last month things escalated. My parents, bless their practical hearts, offered us $20,000 for the wedding, a huge chunk of their savings. "For our boy," my dad said, clapping me on the shoulder. "Just don't spend it all on wind chimes." When I told Aura, she gave a little tinkling laugh. "Oh, that's so sweet of them," she said. "But that barely covers the vibrational alignment ceremony for the venue." Our wedding, or as she called it, our conscious coupling ceremony, had a budget of $100,000. Her father was footing most of the bill because, in his words, it was an investment in our shared timeline of prosperity. I was kicking in about $30,000 from my own savings, a fact that made my stomach churn every time I thought about it. But Aura promised it was just one day of performative spirituality, then we could be normal. I was an idiot. The breaking point came at my parents' house for dinner 3 weeks ago. My mom made a pot roast, a dish Aura once claimed to love, before she decided that consuming red meat was energetically muddy. My dad, trying to be friendly, asked Julian about his business model. The ensuing lecture on quantum financial entanglement was so nonsensical that my dad just nodded politely and asked if he wanted more potatoes. The silence in the car on the way home was deafening until Aura finally exploded. "I just can't do this anymore, Leo." She sighed as if she'd just returned from a war zone. "Your parents, their energy is just so dense. So unevolved. Too unevolved. They built a business with their bare hands while you sell people $500 courses on how to wish for money." My hands gripped the steering wheel. Do you know how mortifying it is when your father asks my dad about profit margins instead of karmic returns? When your mother offers me a second helping of pot roast like she's trying to clog my chakras on purpose? I stared at her. "They're my parents, Aura." She turned to me, her eyes wide with manufactured sincerity. "And I'm going to be your wife. You need to create an energetic boundary. Maybe we see them twice a year. We can send them healing energy from a distance. But they can't be at our events. They just don't align with our narrative." I felt something snap. "You're dead serious." "Completely," she said, her voice dropping to a solemn whisper. "It's their dense, skeptical energy, or it's me. You have to choose what reality you want to live in, Leo. Remember, you can't chart a soul's journey." I pulled the car over. I looked at her, truly looked past the flowing clothes and the serene smile. For 2 years I had been dating a walking, talking Instagram filter. "You're right," I said, my voice eerily calm. "I need to realign my priorities. She beamed, leaning over to kiss my cheek, the scent of patchouli suddenly nauseating. I knew you'd understand. Our life is going to be so abundant without all that baggage. That was 3 weeks ago. The conscious coupling was supposed to be in 1 month. Or it was. Update 1. So after Aura delivered her cosmic ultimatum, I did exactly what I promised. I realigned my priorities. I just realigned them away from the woman who thought my parents' kindness was a form of psychic attack. The first thing I did Monday morning was start making calls. See, the most beautifully ironic part of this whole charade was that Julian, the holistic finance guru, insisted we put all the vendor contracts in my name. His reason? It simplifies the karmic accounting and keeps the energetic channels of commerce clear. I think he meant it was good for his taxes, but his spiritual mumbo-jumbo was about to bite him in his perfectly aligned rear. The venue, a ridiculously expensive retreat center in the hills, cancelled. The caterer providing the all-vegan, gluten-free, locally sourced, moonlight-charged menu, cancelled. The photographer who specialized in capturing auras, cancelled. The DJ who only played high-frequency soundscapes, cancelled. Most vendors kept the deposits, which stung, but a few were surprisingly cool. The venue refunded 40% because they had a waiting list of other spiritually enlightened couples ready to drop a fortune. The aura photographer, a dude named Chad, was a legend. He gave me back everything but a small processing fee and said, "Dude, her energy felt kinda spiky anyway. Good call." All told, I recouped about $17,000 of my $30,000. I didn't tell Aura. I wanted to have all my data points in a row before presenting my findings. This conscious coupling was more than just a wedding to her family. Julian had been parading me around his seminars as a case study in manifested partnership. I, the logical data analyst, had been magnetized to his daughter's high vibration lifestyle. Look, even a numbers guy can see the truth. We were their diversity hires for the spiritual world, proof that their brand of bullcrap worked on everyone. The poor bastards attending his seminars had no idea what a financial disaster they were walking into. On Wednesday, the inevitable text arrived. "Hey love, the florist just called asking about the final payment for the orchid wall. Thought you handled the energetic exchange." I stared at the text, savoring the moment. I replied, "I did handle it." A few seconds passed. They said the order was cancelled. My reply, "Correct. She tried calling 9 times. I silenced my phone, put on some heavy metal to cleanse my own energy, and finished a complex data model at work. The satisfaction was divine. That evening she showed up at my apartment with her sister Luna. I had already packed Aura's things. All her crystals were bubble wrapped, her tarot decks were neatly stacked, and her 50 pairs of identical beige linen pants were folded. "I'm a data guy, not a monster." "What is this?" she asked, gesturing at the boxes with a trembling hand. "Your earthly possessions," I said. "I can help you load them into your kombucha-fueled Prius." Luna, whose primary personality trait was looking confused, spoke first. "You can't do this. The invitations are out. We have 250 guests ascending upon us. Then you'd better start sending some carrier pigeons or whatever it is you people do." I replied. Aura's face went through the 5 stages of grief in 10 seconds, landing squarely on rage. "Is this about Sunday? I told you you can't chart a soul's journey." "I'm not charting it," I said calmly. "I'm ending it." I agreed I needed to disconnect from toxic energy. "So I am with you." She tried everything. Tears. Promises to do the work and honor my ancestral line. She threatened me with bad karma. Then she played her trump card. "My father has already paid for everything. You can't just cancel." "Actually," I said, holding up a folder containing copies of the contracts, "I can." And I did. Everything's in my name, remember? For karmic accounting purposes. The look on their faces was priceless. But the best part was when Luna, in a moment of pure panic, let something slip. "Aura, what are we going to do? You need this wedding." "Needs it. Not wants it. Needs it." I filed that little data point away for future analysis. Update 2. Remember Luna's little Freudian slip about Aura needing this wedding? Well, the truth behind that single word turned out to be more spectacular than I could have ever imagined. 2 days after I evicted Aura and her collection of magical rocks, I got a call from Julian. He wasn't threatening, he was begging. "Leo, my boy, let's connect. Man to man. Come to my office. Let's realign this timeline." Curiosity got the better of me, so I went. Julian's office was the pinnacle of fraudulent spirituality. A giant amethyst geode sat in one corner, a waterfall trickled down a slate wall in the other, and the air was thick with the smell of incense and desperation. He looked like hell. His linen shirt was wrinkled and his abundant smile was gone. "Leo," he said, skipping the pleasantries. "I'll be direct. You're a good man. Aura, she operates on a different vibrational plane. This wedding, this conscious coupling, it's more important than you can possibly know." "Why?" I asked. He shifted in his ergonomic meditation chair. "The Vanderbilts, they're old friends. Their son, Sterling, is launching a new wellness tech fund. They're our main investors." "Oh, here we go. Having you two join in conscious union, it demonstrates a stable foundation. It shows we practice what we preach." So my wedding was a prop for his sales pitch. The Vanderbilts value family, Leo. Stable, abundant families. Aura marrying a grounded, successful man like you, it proves we are the kind of people they can trust with their investment. The puzzle pieces didn't just click into place, they formed a giant flashing neon sign that spelled out FRAUD. The rushed engagement, the absurdly expensive ceremony filled with his business contacts, the pressure to look like the perfect couple. It was all a dog and pony show to land this investment. "How much is the deal worth?" I asked. Julian looked like he was about to be physically sick. "8 figures. He mumbled. "And you need it, don't you?" His silence was louder than any high-frequency soundscape. I walked out of his office, but the universe wasn't done dropping bombshells. That weekend my mom called me, sounding bewildered. "Leo, honey. The strangest thing just happened. That girl Aura just showed up at the store with a photographer." My blood ran cold. "What did she do, Mom?" "Well, she started waving around a smoking bundle of herbs, saying she was cleansing the generational trauma from the hammers. Then she put on one of your dad's work aprons and started posing for pictures, hugging me and talking about bridging the worlds of logic and spirit. She had posted it all over her Instagram. Healing the divide with my future family. So much love for these beautiful souls and their journey." With a photo of her awkwardly holding a wrench next to my confused father. The narrative was clear. We had a little tiff, but she in her infinite grace was healing the rift. She was using my parents, the very people she called dense and unevolved, as props for her social media redemption tour. That's when it became war. Play stupid spiritual games, win stupid data-driven prizes. Time to go nuclear. Edit. For those asking, yes. I could have just walked away quietly. But when she used my parents' hardware store as a stage for her fake enlightenment and tried to paint them as her little pet project, all bets were off. "You don't insult my family and then use them for clout." Her mantra was, "You can't chart a soul's journey." But I was about to create a flowchart of her downfall that was so clear even she could understand it. Final update. I let Aura play her little Instagram game for 2 weeks. I let her post about growth, healing, and the power of forgiveness, all while her DMs were probably flooded with praise for her enlightened maturity. I even had my parents play along, telling anyone who asked that things are complicated. It killed me, but they trusted my plan. They knew I had a final move to make. While she was busy curating her redemption story, I was busy doing what I do best. Analyzing data. Julian's desperation made me dig deeper. Public records are a beautiful thing, folks. It turns out his holistic finance empire was a house of cards built on a mountain of debt. I found 3 active lawsuits from former clients, liens on his minimalist mansion, and a string of failed LLCs. The Vanderbilt deal wasn't just important, it was the only thing keeping him from total financial collapse. His entire abundant lifestyle was funded by credit cards and the deposits from his next round of suckers. But that wasn't even the best part. I created a simple password-protected website. A data dump, if you will. The landing page was a photo of me and Aura smiling. With the title, "The Conscious Coupling." A case study in deception. Inside I laid everything out. I attached screenshots of her texts calling my parents dense and energetically muddy. I included her ultimatum. I uploaded the public records detailing her father's lawsuits and massive debt. I even created a pie chart titled Breakdown of the $100 wedding budget, showing how much was allocated to things like aura photography versus actual food. 1 week before the scheduled coupling, I sent a group email to all 250 guests. The subject line was, "An important update regarding Leo and Aura's conscious coupling." The body of the email was simple. "I apologize for this unconventional update." I wrote, "However, I cannot in good conscience allow you to believe this union is proceeding. For full transparency regarding the cancellation and the motivations behind this event, please visit the following password-protected site." I included the link and the password. Karmic accounting. Then I blocked every single one of them, turned off my phone, and took my parents on a camping trip. 3 days of peace, quiet, and the beautiful smell of pine trees instead of patchouli. When I turned my phone back on, the fallout was biblical. 72 missed calls from Aura. 94 from Julian. Dozens of texts alternating between threats of karmic retribution and pathetic pleas for mercy. Their lawyer sent a cease and desist, which my lawyer friend laughed at so hard he had to use his inhaler. The best part. Sterling Vanderbilt, the investor, apparently loved a good data dump. He called the whole deal off, stating that his fund prefers to invest in ventures with authentic, not manufactured stability. Julian's house of cards didn't just wobble, it imploded. They had to sell the minimalist mansion and the giant amethyst geode that came with it. Aura's spiritual influencer career vanished overnight. Her final act was showing up at my office, mascara streaming down her face, screaming, "I loved you. How could you do this to our journey?" I just looked at her through the security glass and said, "Looks like this part of your soul's journey got charted after all." The wedding was supposed to be yesterday. Instead, I took my parents out to a nice steakhouse. We toasted with good wine to real things. Hard work, family, and calling people on their bull crap. My dad made a joke about checking the restaurant's karmic balance sheet and we all laughed. I'm dating someone new now, an engineer named Sarah. When I told her the story, she just shook her head and said her hypothesis was flawed from the start. She thinks my parents are hilarious. Last I heard, Aura is living with her sister and trying to rebrand herself as a trauma survivor. Good luck with that. The Ashfords learned that when you think someone's family is energetically disposable, you might just get disconnected from the reality you were trying to sell.